Hey, what's up YouTube? I'm k.Mcfall, and today we're here to talk about how to create cinematic video using the DJI Mavic Pro. So, been using the Mavic for about 5 months now, and I'd have to say it's made my life so much easier. For one, the Mavic provides so much capability for its size. I mean, look how small this thing is. Like, it's tiny, and if you're looking to get your shots and not be bothered, once this thing hits 50 feet, it just disappears. Two, the camera quality that you can get from the Mavic is amazing. As long as you have the right configurations and a solid pair of ND filters, you should be good to go. Personally, I just use the filters from Taco RC because they snap on pretty easily and I don't like to bother.
We don't bother.
Three, I really just love editing footage that I capture from the Mavic. I mean, for such a tiny drone, this thing continues to impress me every single time with the results that it gives. And if you actually stick through this video, I will show you how I edited a few of the clips from the highlight in the beginning. Alright guys, so jumping straight into the settings, let's start with video size. All of the clips at the beginning of this video were shot in 3840 by 2160 at 30 frames per second. In the past, I have shot video at 920 by 1080 at both 60 and 96 frames per second, but for some reason they tend to create a lot of artifacts in the image. I realized that shooting at 3840 by 2160 only gives you the option to shoot at 24 and 30 frames per second, which means that you can't get the slow motion you're looking for at 60 frames per second, but that's not necessarily 100% true. If you remember the speed ramping video I developed, I actually shot that video at 30 frames per second, but I was able to slow it down using the optical flow tool provided by Final Cut Pro. So if you want, go ahead and check that out. Alright, so let's talk about white balance. The DJI does a great job with its auto white balance feature, and that's usually just what I leave it set at. So I mean, if you want, you can manually set them, but conditions tend to change pretty quickly on you. So as far as style goes, I like to shoot custom, and I bring my sharpness, contrast, and saturation all down to -2. Last but not least, the only picture profile I shoot in is D-Log. The reason being is simply because I like to pull as much dynamic range as possible from the image that I can. And to explain that really quickly, it's pretty much everything in between your darkest darks and your lightest lights in the image. So what you're trying to get is detail. And shooting in D-Log, you can get a lot more detail than if you were shooting in the normal picture profile, as you can see here. There are other picture profiles that you can choose from that, will probably work out pretty well, such as D-Cinelike. A lot of people like to use that one, True Color, Art. However, I just like to stick to D-Log. All right, guys, now we're through the settings. Let's talk about the edit. So as usual, I'm editing in Final Cut Pro X on the MacBook Pro 2016. And the two images I've decided to use today were actually two of my favorite images out of the 9. And the first is this clip of a sunrise that I woke up early to get. And the second is actually the shot of a cruise ship that was docked not too far off the coast, probably about 1.5 miles, but I was able to get a pretty good shot with the Mavic. The first thing you're going to want to go ahead and do is go up to the title and generators icon, grab an adjustment layer, and then drop that on the first clip. Then just go ahead and copy and paste that to the second. After that, head up to the top and select Windows, Workspaces, Color, and Effects. And the great thing about this workspace is that it gives us the ability to see our Luma channels, RGB overlay, RGB parade, and vector scopes all at the same time. Now in this tutorial, I'm actually not going to explain everything that I'm doing with the vector scopes, only because I've already done that in my How to Color Correct and Grade Phantom 4 video with scopes tutorial. And you can either check that out here or just click on the link in the description below. Next, go up to the wand tool and select Balance Color. And as you can see, Final Cut Pro does a pretty good job balancing the Mavic's footage, especially when it's captured using its auto white balance feature. Now, a lot of times what I'll do first is adjust my shadows and my highlights to where they're supposed to be. However, this time around, I think I'm gonna throw my LUT on first and adjust from there. Now, the tool that I prefer to use is Color Finale from colorgradingcentral.com to apply my LUTs and also do my color grading. However, if you don't have Color Finale, feel free to use whatever tool that you use to apply LUTs and do your color grading in. Now, one of my favorite features about Color Finale is the LUT gallery, which lets you see exactly what the image will look like if you apply any number of the LUTs in the LUT group. Now, I've actually already looked through a few of these, so the one I'm going to select is the Blackmagic to Rec. 709 LUT. Now just uncheck LUT gallery and click apply. And as you can see, our LUT's been applied. Now just to show you guys around color finale a bit, if you click on the LUT group drop down, you can see that you can have multiple LUT groups that you can organize your LUTs in. And if you click under the LUT name, you can see you can have multiple LUTs within each group. After that, go ahead and X out your controls, then select your clip, go up to the wand tool again, drop down to the show color board option and click it. So the first thing I'm going to do is drop my shadows and my mids a bit. And if you take a close look around the sun, you can see that a lot of the clouds in the sky are a bit overexposed. And for this grade, I'm trying to get as much detail out of the sky as possible. So I'm actually going to drop the highlights down to -19. Next, I'm just going to jump over to saturation, and I'm going to bring my midtones up to around 12% and my highlights to 9. Next, I'm just going to go ahead up to color correction 1, hit the drop down, and select add color correction. Next, just go ahead and back out of the color board and notice that we have a second color correction box. Now just go ahead and locate the shape mask icon and select add shape mask. Once the shape mask pops up, we're just going to stretch it out to just select the area of the sky and the sun. Once that's completed, we're just going to jump right back into the color board, and this time we're going to move over to color, and I'm just trying to add a bit of red around the sun just for effect. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the highlight and move it all the way over to the left, just around 7%. All right, so now you can just back out of the color board and play the clip. All right, looks pretty good. So now moving on to the cruise, we're kind of just going to run through this process all over again. First thing we're going to do is go up to the wand tool and select balance color. After that, I'm going to go ahead and drop my color finale onto my adjustment layer and search through the LUT gallery. This time, I think I'm going to go with Kodak Log Cube. After that, I'm just going to go ahead and adjust the slider under the control panel to the point where, the image isn't so contrasty, and I think that looks about right. So now all there's left to do is just add in our anamorphic 2.35 aspect ratio. And I'm also just going to adjust the ship a little bit just to show more of the actual ship. Now just hit done and play the clip. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give it a thumbs up because that always helps out a lot. And as you can see, a lot of the clips from today's video actually came from my recent travels to Greece. So I have a lot more footage coming out soon, and I really can't wait to show you guys. So I hope you stick around. Till next time, I'm out. When I woke up this morning in the haters' world, found me,